Hey, total y'all family this time. May the peace of y'all come upon you when you learn to obey him. I have to cover a very important video at this time, brothers and sisters. We're dealing with the prophecy that came to pass already. This part two on the 400-year prophecy that already been fulfilled, brothers and sisters. I'm here to give some more supporting evidence to prove that once and for all that you may trust the every verse of Yah, brothers and sisters, and walk upright before him. Because on the time we are living in, brothers and sisters, in great dangerous time for our nation. Brothers and sisters, a lot of persecution going on. They're contaminating our food and everything, brothers and sisters. It's not getting better for us, not at all. Until we obey Yah and come together and get organized, brothers and sisters. I'm asking each and every one of you, please, brothers and sisters, obey Yah and let us come together and learn to help each other, brothers and sisters. It's very important because that's what our nation lacked at this time. And for a long time period. Ever since we got put out of that land, brothers and sisters, we became more increasingly dependent on the aid of outside nations. Because y'all punished and took everything away from our ancestors. All of their wealth, their land, brothers and sisters. And took the children away from their parents, brothers and sisters. So that's why our people, majority of them, don't know each other, especially in these foreign lands that took further apart away from our land, brothers and sisters. Our nation became distant to each other. And that's where you see the strong increasing distrust, no care. And was brought up around foreigners, strange people, our enemy that ravaged our people. And which it breeds so much hatred. You see that 500 years, and you see the increase of it. Where majority of our people don't care how they treat each other. They don't care about sleeping with their own brother's wife, and the wives don't care about sleeping with their own sisters' husbands. You see that, brothers and sisters. They don't care. I see it. I hear people talking about they don't care, brothers and sisters. Majority of our people don't. You see that even more. Majority of our people don't care. That say they are awakened. You see that. You see that everything they doing just about have nothing to do with what the Father said in the writings. You don't see in the writing on camps like churches with all these multiple names. You don't see that, brothers and sisters, in the writings. The camps were set up in 12 groups, and all were labeled by the tribal names. But they all were still identified the same people, brothers and sisters. You see that in the writings, brothers and sisters. It's all dead, documented. We didn't have these made up names like church. You know, you go in the scripture and you pick out a name and tag it to yourself and say, I'm the Lighthouse Church, or I'm the Salone Church. I am Love Church. I am IUSPK or GOCC, IUCI. You don't see that in the writings, brothers and sisters. But that's what you see all over the streets, brothers and sisters, and on YouTube. Every day, people coming up with new name. I'm awakened. And I'm going to form this group here and call it this and that, brothers and sisters. All that breed is separation. That's where we get all these different names from the Creator. But we're going to get into this message, brothers, because it's so important to show you that the 400-year prophecy already been fulfilled, and the people proclaim in 16 to 2016, and another group got 1619 to 2019 is all lies. So let's further prove that. Because when we get into the scripture, I'm going to start off in Numbers and show you something here after they got out of Egypt captivity. That's the true 400-year captivity that y'all was talking about. But first, I wanted to start off there, but then we go back and read the prophecies to you real quick. See, the prophecy don't begin in Genesis 15:13. It starts off in Genesis chapter 15, verse 1. See right here? It said, after Yah has, it said, afterwards, Yah spoke to Abram in a vision. And this is what he told him. Don't be afraid. Don't be fearful, Abram, for I will defend you, and I will give you a great blessing. See, this great blessing was to give him children to inherit the promised land that he was in. Y'all was talking to him in the vision. So we're going to go down to verse 13 right here. See, because when you go here, Abraham wanted to know something. See right here, it said, Abraham replied, "Oh Yah, how can I be sure that you will give it to me?" Let me go back up. And I told him, "I am Yah who brought you out of the city of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land forever." You see that? But Abraham replied, "Oh Yah, how can I be sure that you will give it to me?" Then Yah told him to take a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a pigeon, and to slay them, and to cut them apart down the middle, and to separate the halves, but not divide the birds. And when the vultures came down upon the carcass, Abraham drove them away. Then that evening, as the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and a vision of terrible foreboding and darkness and terror. And horror. And then Yah told him, Abram, your descendants will be oppressed as slaves in a foreign land for 400 years. You get that? So right there. That was in the vision because Abraham wanted to know how. Would he know? Y'all let him know he's going to be dead before that time takes place. But your children going to be captives for 400 years in a foreign land. And Abraham believed Yah. So let's keep reading a little bit more. But I will punish the nation that enslaved them, and at the end they will come away with great wealth. But you will die in peace, see, before that time at a ripe old age. Afterward, the fourth generation will, after 4 generations, they will return, see, here to this land. For the wickedness of the Amorites nation living here, see, in that land will not be ready for punishment until then. You see, you get that, brothers and sisters? See, so these are the things you must know, brothers and sisters. You must have this knowledge. You must read the whole thing. So we know from that setup right there, as I'm gonna go to Numbers here and start off with chapter 10, verse 29, that Abraham gonna die, his seed will gonna be taken into, will go into Mizraim and be held there captives for 400 years. See, because they went in there, total of 70, to escape the famine in the land of Canaan. Then Yah raised up Moshe to go and get them out. And now we at that point. So we're going to go from here to see something to prove that even more. We're going to start over here. In chapter 10, verse 29, it reads, One day Moshe said to his brother-in-law, Hab, son of Ruel, the Midianite, at last we are on our way to the promised land. You see that? See, the land was promised to Abraham, then to Yishak, then Yaakov. And Yaakov, because of the famine, took 66 people besides his son and children that was already, his one son and his children was already, which would make it total out to 70, that was already in Mizraim. The one called Yosef was already dead, to dwell dead. So you keep that in mind as well. So right here, Moshe stated, see, he knew the land was promised to his ancestors, see. From Abraham to Yishak, Yaakov. That's why they always mention it in that order, to the 12 tribes, who are the seed of Abraham. That are the chosen ones y'all chosen to give that land to. Because Abraham had many children, but through that one seed of Yishak, then it passed on to Yaakov and to his 12 sons and their children. That's the order right there, brother and sister. So that sect was going to inherit that promised land that he promised Abraham. We just read right here, see? And y'all put Moshe in charge to lead them. Then it was a transition made because Moshe messed up. Then y'all gave him replace it. Yahshua ben Nun. So keep that in none. So keep that in mind. See, one day Moshe said to his brother, right there I read that, at last we are on our way to the promised land. Come with us and we will do you benefit. They got good, for Yah has given wonderful promise to Yashael Yah. See, talking about the land. So keep that in mind. See, that's another factor. As we go to chapter 11 and start off with verse 4 right here. It said, then the Egyptians who had come with them, see, began long. That's my son coming into the room. This real live. So then the Egyptians who had come with them began to long for the good things of Egypt. See, this added to the discontent of the people of Yashael, they call Israel, and they wept. Oh, for a few bites of meat. Oh, that we had some of the delicious fish we enjoyed so much in Egypt, and the wonderful cucumbers and the melons and leeks, onions and garlic. But now our strength is gone. Day after day we have to face this manna. The manna was about the size of a coriander seed. It looked like a droplet of gum from the bark of a tree. The people gathered it from the ground and crushed it into the flour or pounded it in the mortars, boiled it, and then made pancakes for it. And they taste like pancakes fried in vegetable oil. That's a lie. Right here, see, they got literally in olive oil. They could have put that did, but they chose to use that word right did. It said, and the manna fell with the dew during the night. Moshe heard all the family standing around their tent doors, weeping, and the anger of Yah grew hot. Moshe too was highly displeased. Moshe said to Yah, why pick on me to give me this burden of a people like this? Are they my children? Am I their father? Is that why you have given me the job of nursing them along like babies until we get to the land you promised their ancestors? See right there, brothers and sisters. Again, showing you Moshe was leading the seed of Abraham. That was the one y'all was talking about in Genesis 15:13, brothers and sisters. From out of that 400 years in that fourth generation, that was the ones, brothers and sisters, right there. Plain and simple. It's all over the scriptures, brother. I show you. As I'm gonna go right here and read back the numbers real quick. I don't want to make this video too long because I just show you enough facts to prove that point right there. Out of the own mouths of Moshe, that was the promise of 15 chapter right there. So I'm gonna go back to 15th chapter of Genesis real quick and start out with verse 7 right here. It's saying, and he told him, I am Yahoo, brought you out of the city of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land forever. See that? So right there, in verse 7, 15th chapter in the 18th verse, right here. So that day, Yah made this covenant with Abram. I have given this land to your descendants from the Wadi El Resh to the Euphrates River, right here. See, from the river of Egypt at the southern border of Yad, me and you. So I want you to keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. As I'm gonna read a little bit more, I'm gonna go to Psalms. Psalms 105. Let me go. I'm gonna go to Psalms. Let me get this. Give me a moment. I'm gonna start off with 114. Excuse me, chapter 114, right here. In verse 1 and 2, right here. Show you a little bit more. It said, chapter 114 of Psalms say, long ago, when they got Israelites, but Yasha escaped from Egypt, from the land of a foreign tongue. You see that? Then the lands of Yada and Yasha became Baraz's new home and kingdom. You see that? So keep that in mind. I want you to see that. As I'm going to go to Psalms 105. 105 and read. I'll probably read the whole chapter right here. Let me get it. It says, thank Yah for all the glorious things. See, the honor things he does. Proclaim them to the nations. Sing his praise and tell everyone about his miracles. Honor in Yah, O worshippers of Yah, Barah, the Creator. Rejoice, search for him and his strength, and keep on searching. Think of all the mighty deeds he did for us, his chosen ones, the descendants of Barah's servant Yaakov. You see that? And of Yaakov. Remember how he destroyed our enemies. He is Yah al-Barah. He's righteous. His righteousness is seen everywhere throughout the land. Though a 1,000 generations pass, he never forgets his promise. Trying to get it to focus. His covenant with Abraham, see that? And Yishak. And confirmed it with Yaakov. See, he confirmed it with Yaakov. This is his never-ending treaty with the people of Yashael Yah. I will give you the land of Canaan as your inheritance. You see that? He said this when they were but few in number. Very few. And were only visitors in Canaan. You see that? Later, they were dispersed among the nations and were driven from one kingdom to another. But through it all, he would not let one thing be done to them apart from his decision. He destroyed many a kings who tried. Touch not the chosen ones of mine, he warned. And do not hurt my prophets. So all this came to pass, and he called for a famine on the land of Canaan. You see that? Cutting off its food supply. Then he sent Yosef as a slave to Egypt, Mizraim, Kemet, to save his people from starvation. And there in the prisons they hurt his feet in feathers with feathers, and placed his neck in a iron collar until Barad's time finally came. How Barad tested his patience. Then the king sent for him and set him free. He was put in charge of all the king's possession. At his pleasure, he could imprison the king's aides and teach the king's advisors. You see that? Then Yaakov, Yashayahu, arrived in Egypt. You see that? And lived there with his sons. It's going over the history. In the years that followed, the people of Yashayahu multiplied explosively until they were a greater nation than their rulers. At that point, Barad turned the Egyptians against Yashayahu, and they hated and enslaved them. You see that? But Barad sent Moshe as his representative and Aaron with him to call down miracles of terror upon the land of Egypt. They followed his instructions, and he sent thick darkness through the land and turned the nation water into blood, poisoned the fish. Then frogs invaded the enormous numbers, and they were found even in the king's private rooms. When Moshe spoke, the flies and other insects swarmed in vast clouds from the one end of Egypt to the other. Instead of rain, he sent down murderous hail. Lightning flashes overwhelmed the nation. The grapevines and the fig trees were ruined. All the trees lay broken on the ground. He spoke and heard of locusts came and ate up everything green, destroying all the crops. Then he killed the oldest child in each Egyptian home, and their pride and joy, and brought his people safely out of Egypt, loaded with silver and gold. You see that? And there was no sick and feeble folks among them. Then the Egyptian was glad when they were gone, for the dread of them was great. And he spread out a cloud above them to shield them from the burning sun, and gave them a pillar of flame at night to give them light, and asked for meat. And they asked for meat, and he sent them quail, and gave them manna, bread from heaven. He opened up the rock, and water gushed out to form a river through the dry and barren land. For he remembered his Kodesh promise to Abraham, his servant. That's right there, brothers and sisters. That's it. Right there showed you, plain and simple, 400 years was the time when our people was in Egypt. That just laid it all out to you, the history, from the time they went into the land, from the famine until the time they left out, and how y'all gave them silver and gold, told them to ask for it. See? And I read you the prophecy, brothers and sisters. It's right there. Keep reading this. So he brought his chosen ones singing into the promised land. And he gave the land of the Gentiles. He gave them the land of the Gentiles, complete with their growing crops, and they ate what others planted. This was done to make them faithful in obedience to his laws. Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Psalm 105 tells it all, brothers and sisters. Learn to trust Yah, family. It's all there. I don't know what else I can show. I don't need to show you nothing else. That's it. part one, part two seals it. With that, I say Toda Yah.